Welcome. What?
SpongeBob. I'm ready. No, okay.
Should we sing? No.
No.
Welcome to episode 31 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm River.
And I'm Wren.
And today we're going to talk about tea reading. I think we've promised to do this before, and we finally have gotten around to it.
Mm-hmm.
But first, let's talk about our cocktail for today. I seem to be on a bourbon kick.
Yeah.
Which I don't really like bourbon. So this is very strange for me, but I do want to have bourbon in our cookbook when it comes out, our cocktail book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to play with it. My mouth is watering and I'm sitting here drinking one. This is ridiculous. Okay. So Wren and I had our Samhain party, and I had a bunch of different specialty drinks that I had served that people could make. And one of them was called the Poison Apple. And it's kind of weird, but it's fun. And it is apple cider, bourbon, lemonade, which is that frozen lemonade that comes with the sweet. You could do lemon and simple syrup, but I cut that and kind of did it with lemonade, that frozen lemonade that's already sweetened. And then Dijon mustard. And my mouth is watering.
It's the weirdest.
It is so weird, but it works. It is actually really, really good. And we played with this. Like I put in a spoonful and stirred it. And then we had these clumpy pieces of mustard and that didn't work. So we put it in the shaker and we shook it. And then it makes it a really odd color, but it is, I think it would be really, really good with pork.
Oh,
so maybe for Yule, with Yule coming up in December, that would be a good, if you're going to have pork roast for your Yule dinner. I think this would be a great drink for that, but it is actually tasty. And it's not as strong as that other bourbon drink that I had. We were loopy episode.
No, it's pretty good. I wasn't expecting to like it. Mustard isn't my favorite thing in the world, but this is pretty good.
It goes with bourbon for some reason, and apple cider. Who knew?
I know, weird.
But it's very good. So if we start to slur by the end of the episode, you'll know why. So let's get into tea reading. I've never done a tea reading before. I've had tea parties, which that was one of the first things we did when we met. We had you all over for a tea party, and your husband didn't quite know what to make of me at that point.
Yeah, he was very confused.
Yeah, it was so fun though. I had you all over for a tea party, and he's like, I got a little sister who does tea parties. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Who is this River person that you connected with?
Yeah. Cause he always drinks coffee. And so I come along and the only caffeine, I mean, I have my coffee moods, but I only drink tea. I just strictly drink tea. I hear your dogs.
Yes.
And, he was just very confused. And then when you had your tea party, he was like, he was extra confused. I don't understand, It
was so fun though, because I made tea sandwiches and we had all these different teas, which we're going to tell you some interesting facts about teas. That's really fun. But yeah, that was one of our first things when we were brand new friends. So what is tea reading? So tasseography or tasseography.
Okay.
Or also called tasseomancy or tasseomancy.
Wow. I was like, how are you even going to try to get another pronunciation out of that? No.
It is the art of identifying symbols and messages in the shapes of tea leaves. It's a form of divination. So it is something that you can use tarot cards or the pendulum scrying, which we've done an episode on that if you want to go listen to that. But it is based on intent, as most magic is. And you focus your magical intention on the tea and think of the question that it is that you want answered. And you see what these wet tea leaves show you. And you can do this for yourself, or you can do this reading for someone else. Being witches, a lot of people expect us to know this stuff. And, so they do come to us for this kind of thing. And I think we should probably try to do it. We don't have to, but I think we could. A lot of people got their first introduction to tea leaf reading in the Harry Potter movies. At least we did. I mean, that's our generation, where Professor Trelawney saw the Grimm in Harry's cup. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's kind of a freaky point for me because it was scary. And, the Grimm and anyway, that was an introduction into tea reading for me. So the history of tea reading, before we get into actual tea readings, the history of tea itself is fascinating. According to legend, in 2737 BC, the Chinese emperor Shen Nung was sitting beneath a tree while his servant boiled drinking water. Some of the leaves from the tree he was sitting under blew into his water. And Shen Nung, a renowned herbalist, decided that he was going to try this infusion that his servant accidentally made. And the tree happened to be a Camellia. Now, my husband's the plant person. Sinensis? Camellia sinensis, which is a tea plant. And the resulting drink is what we now call tea. And they have found tea containers in tombs dating all the way back from the Han dynasty, which was 206 BC to 220 AD. But it was actually under the Tang dynasty in 618 to 906 AD that tea actually became established in the culture of China and became their national drink. Do you know it takes around 2,000 tiny leaves to make just 1 pound of finished tea? That's a lot.
That is a lot. Considering how much tea I go through in like a month, that is a lot.
We need to figure out how to grow tea on your back deck.
Well, I grew chamomile, but my chamomile plant died because it's sitting direct heat, and apparently it doesn't need that, like sun plus heat. And
we'll have to look and see how you grow tea, because that would be fun. Tea plants grow wild in certain parts of Asia, but they can't be farmed. And the very best tea comes from really high elevations and is handpicked, which Georgia is not super high elevation. We do have Brasstown Bald, which is the highest point in Georgia. So maybe we could try to grow tea up there.
Maybe.
The Darjeeling tea is grown in India at the Himalayas. And it's this area that's only 70 square miles large. Which is small. I'm having trouble, y'all. And for this reason, Darjeeling tea is highly prized, and it's known as the champagne of teas.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever had. I don't even know if you're pronouncing it right.
I probably am not.
Darjeeling. I mean, it looks right.
Darjeeling.
I don't think I've ever had that tea.
We've tried a lot. I wonder, did we not have any at our tea party? We tried white tea and green tea, and of course black tea, which is the most common. I don't know. I have no idea. But tea also used to be used for medicinal purposes, such as detoxification, but it was actually, sorry, got off track there for a minute. Did you know it was actually chewed rather than being drunk, like chewing tobacco? They actually chewed it for its effects. Isn't that bizarre?
That is the weirdest thing. Because did you know?
It's a Wren fact.
Yeah, Wren fact. Did you know that a cup of tea may keep the dentist away? Because tea actually helps fight cavities.
Well, I should never have cavities because I drink a lot of tea.
I don't know. I drink a lot of tea, and I went to the dentist not too long ago, and I had 2 cavities.
Well, I think we put sugar and milk and all kinds of stuff in our tea.
Well, so I try to do less sugar, but I do put milk in it. So, sorry.
I love tea with milk. I have a milk fact later on I'll tell you about.
Okay.
Tea leaf reading, which is also known as Tassiography or tassiography.
No. Tassiography.
Tassiography
just good.
Is said to have its origins in Asia, the Middle East, and ancient Greece, with the Middle Eastern cultures typically using coffee, which that's interesting to me. The mock leaf reading began in the 7th century when tea was introduced from China to Europe. Tea leaf reading is thought to have developed because life was often discussed over a cup of tea. I mean, how often do we sit and have a cup of tea and you chat about things? And, I guess as you're drinking, you notice the tea leaves in your cup. So I think they say it might have developed that way. I don't know. And the United States, tea parlors opened up in the 1800s, with tea becoming more and more popular over the years until it's like the perfect drink for us today.
Okay. Off of everything that we just said, I'm going to repeat a little bit. Okay. But I found this really cool website, and you guys can go check it out. It's called medium.com. We'll have it linked. But it was really fun to read through like its history. And it was like, where did tassomancy originate, right? And so it's actually like considered a myth, what you said about the Chinese emperor sitting underneath the tree. That's like a very like famous origin like story, but it's like considered a myth as well. So
interesting.
Yeah. So while some claim that tassomancy was practiced in ancient China, this is unlikely for several reasons. Most notably,
tell me why?
Yeah. Most notably, few dependable, if any, sources make any any reference to it during the time. So there's nothing that states anything with tea during those times in any like historical reference. Okay.
Interesting.
So what's far more likely is that this like fact is a little piece of historical like revision like type thing, like
revisionist history.
Yeah. And the practice is actually like from its creators, like which is pinpointed near Europe. Okay.
Interesting.
So
I always associate it with China. I always associate tea. I don't know about tea reading, but tea, and you would think if tea, my mouth is watering. I'm sorry, this drink is really good. I never knew I liked mustard this much. But anyway, the tea I've always associated with China.
It's interesting because it's like the origins, they can't find any dependable sources that reference to this time period of having tea.
That's crazy.
It's weird. And so the origins of tea drinking in China are murky. But it's thought to have begun sometime in the second millennia BC, where tea didn't arrive in Europe until the early 1600s. So we still don't know where tea first originated. It's just always been here. So when it was brought back from Amsterdam via the Dutch East India Company, and by the end of that century, tea had spread across most of the continent. So it had spread in Europe. It was brought back to Amsterdam, but we don't know where from.
That's talking about the Dutch East India Company. They transported coffee as well. And did you know that some of the best, quote, best coffee or most desired coffee is coffee that a goat has eaten and pooped out?
Gross.
I know. Give me my tea, thank you. I don't know about this coffee stuff that came out in goat shit. I mean, really?
Yeah, that's a no for me.
Hard pass.
No. But your husband is a coffee fanatic, so just tell him that.
I think he already knows. He's okay with it. He's an addict, y'all. He is addicted to coffee. We could tell him anything about coffee and he'd say so.
That's funny. So tea bags wouldn't be invented until 1903. So at this time, tea was brewed using loose tea leaves, which would leave the sediment at the bottom. So divining sediment was not a like new practice at the time, since there's been some evidence it was already practiced with coffee grounds and wine sediment.
I did not know that. Oh, let's do wine reading. I want to do wine reading.
No, but I didn't know that either. So I think that that's really cool. And so tassomancy was the next logical step for divination enthusiasts, as the website called. And so as tea consumption steadily grew throughout Europe, so did tassomancy, and enjoyed at first only by like the upper classes, and then it slowly went down towards the lower classes, and that's where it turned for the practice in Britain, where that's where it started. Like for like the British, when you think of tea, you think of Britain. I don't know. Like it's like the stereotype.
I still can't get beyond you saying that tea might not have come from China. That just blows my mind.
It's a murky start.
Interesting. Okay.
And so the lower class had always been more superstitious that the upper classes, and by the middle of the 19th century during the Victorian era, the superstition combined with a renewed interest in the occult.
Yeah.
And so that led to like tassomancy, and took a turn in the 20th century. So tassomancy by this point had also become attached to the Romani, I think. Romani.
Yeah.
Wow. Romani people, like they're a nomadic people present throughout Europe and Asia.
I think they're a gypsy type culture, Romani people. Oh, and you know why I know this?
Why?
Because I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that teacher, she was a Romani, the teacher that fell in love with Giles, who was there to try to watch angels. She was a Romani.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
I paid attention to that show, but not that closely.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. Sorry.
Yeah, you are a nerd. So to the Romani people, which are a nomadic people present throughout Europe and Asia that often had close links to divination in its many forms. It is believed that the Romani were the ones who facilitated the spread of tassomancy through parlors, coffee houses, tea rooms, and even through door-to-door readings, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think they were like traveling gypsies.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so by the mid 1800s, Romani offering tassomancy readings could be found throughout Europe, like all throughout Europe.
Okay.
So for the Victorians, particularly the middle class, tassomancy became wildly popular, and a whole culture evolved around it. So, so hostesses would read the tea leaves for their guests, and specialized cups painted with occult symbols and zodiac signs were sold alongside accompanying guidebooks, so people could do it on their own. Yeah.
That is so cool.
And this is all from themedium.com.
Okay.
And which I thought was check it out. It's a really interesting site. There is some that I didn't put in there, But tassomancy is often said to be passed down through female line, which is interesting.
That is.
And this feature of folklore likely owes a great debt to the superstitions of Victorians. So witches, fortune tellers, and Wiccans were primarily women, and the association of tea leaves divination with the hostesses of the house served to solidify it as a primary female art form.
I can see that. Plus, it's kind of a cooking thing. It's a kitchen thing.
It's
I would think that would be associated female-wise too.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I don't really know much about like the Victorian era.
Yeah.
I haven't really I don't know. Victorian era.
I always think of the Victorian era as more of a steampunk era because it was the beginning of the mechanical revolution, the industrial revolution.
Yeah, but that was more towards the end. If you're like talking about in the middle of the Victorian, it's very Victorian. That's the only way I can put it.
An herb is an herb.
Yeah.
Victorian is Victorian.
A Victorian is a Victorian. Yeah. So modern Victorian housewives could bring a bit of like the arcane magic into the home while still remaining upstanding and fashionable. It was magic without the stigma.
Okay.
And so all of this leads to the question of really where the origins started. And it all alludes to the idea that humans have always wondered what their future has in store.
That's a very true statement. I think so.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do tea leaf reading? Well, obviously you need a cup.
Yep.
And the lighter the color, the better, because you want to be able to see the tea leaves. So you don't want a black cup with the dark leaves. You're not going to be able to see anything. So the lighter the cup, the better. It needs to kind of be a flaring cup as opposed to a straight up and down cup because you want the tea leaves to stick to the sides, cling to it better. If you're reading for someone else, let them choose from several cups. I have a bunch of different coffee cups, mugs and that kind of thing. So if I were going to do a tea reading for someone else, you let them choose whatever quote feels right to them. And if you're going to do it for yourself, feel the energy around you and pick the one that feels right. You need a saucer. You need the tea, obviously.
Yeah.
Got to do loose leaf tea. Bag tea doesn't work. It's too confined in the little bag. You can't see any.
Yeah. So
anything.
Could you like cut the bag or like open the bag and use those?
You could, but those are so broken up that they don't have the nice willowy pieces of the tea left.
That's true.
They're all just, but you can because they still might form patterns. Broadleaf teas work the best. You can get them off Amazon. One of my favorite shops, and they don't pay us to say this, but I love to promote them, is the Peacock Tea Room. And it's a place that actually is open every spring at the Georgia Renaissance Festival. There is an actual facility that we can go to, and they have teas, and he has all these little hors d'oeuvres that go with the teas, but they have an online shop. So no matter where you are in the world, you can order their tea, and they have some amazing teas, and you can order them loose leaf, or you don't have to if you don't want loose leaf. But for our purposes, for tea reading, of course, we do want loose leaf.
Yeah. I actually ordered from them. They're amazing. Really good. They're so good.
It's so owned
good.
by a guy, Chef Randy owns it. And I got my picture taken with him one year at the Renaissance Festival. It was the highlight of my visit that year. Yes, I am a dork. I understand. But you can go to www.thepeacocktea.com. And if you could link that into the episode when you post it, that would be great.
Okay.
So since you have to drink this tea, why not have a tea that's really good with amazing flavors? So how do you do this tea reading? So you'll either be reading it for yourself or for someone else. You have to get mentally ready, just like with any spell you're going to cast. It's not like you're not casting a spell, but it's still magic that you're tapping into. So anything that you do to get ready when you do spell cast is the same type of thing you're going to get ready to do when you do tea reading. Like you deep breathing, think about the question that's being asked, open yourself to the energies around you, ground yourself to the earth, like envision a line going from the crown of your head straight down through your body into the root earth beneath you. If music helps, choose a music that you like to meditate to, anything that might calm you or feels magical to you. Light candles. Candles always make me feel magical.
I love candles.
Me too. Prepare your space. Is it a table like in the kitchen? Are you going to maybe put an altar cloth down? Is that something that helps you prepare your space to help you get in the mood for casting? have the querier, I don't know if that's a word or not, but the person asking the question, place their tea leaves directly into a cup, and just a pinch will do. And then you pour hot water onto it. Mm-hmm. And you can't add the sugar or the milk or anything to it at this point. So given that, you're going to want to get a tea that tastes really good. And the Peacock Room really does have some yummy tea. They've got a strawberry moon tea.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. You don't need sugar or milk or anything with it. It's fabulous. But while the water cools, have the questioner or the person, the querier, focus on their intentions, have their question, and have them focus on the actual tea leaves. Specificity. Oh Lord, I just sat on the, okay. Say something, because I'm not sure if I can hear you anymore. Did you say? Okay, so you're,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What did you do?
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
You did.
I didn't.
You did.
Oh, no, I didn't. You did it.
Okay. So while the water cools, after you've poured the hot water into it, while it's cooling, have the questioner or whatever you want to call that person focus on their intentions, focus on their question, and put that focus into the leaves. And specificity is super important, which we say this, I think, on every episode.
All the time.
All the time. You know, whenever you're dealing with magic, you really do need to be concise and clear with whatever your intentions or questions are. So once it's cooled enough for you to drink, the questioner begins sipping the tea as they think on their question. Mm-hmm. So they drink it down until there's about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of liquid left in the cup. And then they hold the cup in their left hand and they swirl it 3 times clockwise in their hands, in their left hand. Mm-hmm. Then they turn the cup upside down on that saucer I told you about and rotate it 3 more times. And I've read different places. Some people don't do this step. It makes sense to me. 3 is a sacred number. It's a magic number. Mm-hmm. And while it's being rotated upside down, the questioner should concentrate on his or her future destiny or whatever their wish is. And that intent that the symbol correctly represent what's the happenings that are to come or whatever the question is that they want to have answered. Then they turn the cup right side up with the handle pointing south.
Okay.
And the handle should be closest to the questioner's body. So I guess the questioner needs to be facing north for the south to be facing close to their body.
Sounds good to me.
And then when you look at it, the tea leaves should be stuck inside the cup in a variety of shapes and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So now the parts of the cup are important too. The cup is divided into 3 sections. You've got the rim that represents the present, the sides, which represent the near future, and the bottom, which represents the far future. Mm-hmm. If the symbols are near the handle, then that suggests events regarding the person who is asking the question's current immediate surroundings, which, remember, that's facing south. And if the symbols are closer to the handle, the closer the symbols are to the handle, the closer those things are to becoming a reality in time-wise.
Okay.
If they're across from the handle on that part of the cup, the part facing north, symbolizes external issues and outside influences.
Okay.
So the reader is called the seer, or also a reader, or whatever you want to call it.
To be boring, you call it a reader, but if you want to be fancy, you call it a seer.
A seer.
A seer.
A clairvoyant.
Ooh.
Oh. This is the person that interprets the tea leaves. And the seer should not just concentrate on the up, but on the questioner as well, because you're going to pick up vibes and energies off the person who needs the answer, as well as you are from the tea leaves within the cup. Mm-hmm. There are different types of symbols that you can look for: animals, mythical creatures, objects, letters, and numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think specifically like the symbols are very important. And I found a really cool website. I didn't link it directly next to what I was talking about, but it's in all of our links. Mm-hmm. There are so many that you can like, and there's so many ways that you can interpret them, right? This is just one website.
Right. And I do feel like you should go with your gut on how to interpret it.
Yeah, for sure. But I picked out a few that I thought were fun. So if you get an aircraft, like such as airplanes or balloons are considered aircrafts. Get it? Because like they're in the air, like
air, like a blimp is an aircraft. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This means unsuccessful projects. You can.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
I would have thought, aircraft or balloons would be
happy, or you have a journey.
Journey. Yeah.
But this website said that you have an unsuccessful project ahead. Which is that one's not fun. And then there's an anchor, like the traditional anchor. Could stand for good luck in business and stable love life. And if this symbol is cloudy in appearance, it should be interpreted as the opposite.
Okay.
Which I like how it offered like the two, the two versions of it. If you see a butterfly, that means success and pleasure are in your future.
Okay.
A cow, which I thought was really fun, means prosperity. How does a cow mean prosperity? I don't know.
Eat more chicken.
That's elephants mean luck and good health.
I love elephants.
Mm-hmm. Lines, which I thought this one was interesting. So lines mean journey, like a journey, and the direction of the journey when reading with like the nearby symbols, the other symbols that you have, wavy lines mean difficult journey. Straight lines mean peace, like peaceful happiness and long life. But it doesn't say anything about like which way they're like, if you have a line, like from which way to what way, you know what I mean? Like,
I had read somewhere that wavy lines meant something happening across the ocean.
Oh, like water, like wavy lines in water?
Like the ocean. Yeah, like the waves. I don't know. And I really do think it is going to be up to the reader to interpret it as based on the energies that are around them and the fidgetiness, everything about the person you're reading for, which could be yourself. Mm-hmm. I just think that it's all very open to interpretation.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. A ship with a P is a successful journey.
That makes more sense than being shit, meaning a successful journey.
Star means good luck if surrounded by dots. Wealth. It means if surrounded by dots, it's with wealth and honor.
Interesting.
Which is weird. Dots, like, I don't know. I feel like tea readings, you probably have a lot of dots.
A lot of dots, yeah.
So good luck. And if you have a star with dots surrounding it, it means wealth and honor. And then if you get trees, I guess any type of tree, oak tree, pine tree, Christmas tree, which is good luck, prosperity, happiness. And if this one is surrounded by dots, fortune will be found in that country, which is weird. I don't understand.
Like in the country, like we're going on a road trip in the country to go treasure hunting.
Well, I imagined it as in like the country that you live in.
Oh, interesting.
Fortune will be found in the country. I don't know. Maybe like the country.
Oh, that's funny because I took it as meaning like we're going to grandma's house.
Yeah, we're going to the South, but I took it as like the country that you live in, which is also weird. I don't know what that means. Trees. But placement is also very important. So that's like the end of like the symbols. I just picked out a couple. You guys can go check out the website.
Oh, there's tons of them. So yeah, definitely go look.
So many. And that's not the only website either.
There's also, sorry, I swallowed my drink wrong. When you swallow Dijon mustard down your lungs, it's not a good thing. So there's also books out there that you can buy entire books on that are just on tea reading and the symbols. So if you find one that feels right to you, go ahead and pick it up.
Yeah. Placement is also very important with the symbols, but we've already talked about placement in the
a little bit
in how you divide the cup into sections. And it's up to the reader / seer who's reading it to, tell you about like what's going on. And again, it's all up to interpretation and Yeah,
definitely. I think the first thing you're supposed to do once you've turned the cup over is first you don't try to read anything at that point. You just look, you search for the symbols first, as opposed to where they are in the cup. You're trying to get an overall impression of everything. You turn the cup around and look at it from different angles to see if you can see, an L might be a 7. Well, I guess actually an L would be a backwards. But anyway, things might look different from other perspectives.
Yeah.
Speaking of tea, which we are, did you know that there are several different types of tea? Like there's black tea, oolong tea. I think that was the one we had at our tea party. Not the
oolong sounds
Darjeeling or whatever.
Yeah.
Green and white tea, but they all come from the same plant, that Camellia sinensis. But the difference is in how the leaves are treated after they're harvested. That's what makes all the different types of teas.
That's so cool because I didn't know that like that. I just thought they were all different plants.
Yeah, I did too. I had no idea.
I actually have a Wren fact off of that.
Okay.
Did you know that one plant, the Camellia sinensis, can produce tea for up to 50 years?
Oh, wow.
So that one plant can produce a whole ton of tea for 50 years. So the tea that you drank this morning could have been a part of the same plant that you drank 2 weeks ago.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
You know that Darjeeling tea that we were talking about? It can be super expensive. It was the one that was called the champagne of teas.
Yeah.
It's actually not the expensive. That goes to a rare Chinese variety. It's still a Darjeeling tea, but it's a variety called, and I'm going to butcher this, Tai Guanyin.
Oh, he did better than I would.
It was named after a Buddhist iron goddess of mercy. And it's an oolong tea, but it will cost you $1,500 per pound.
Holy moly. That's some good tea.
But the good news is that you can use the leaves like up to 7 times before they lose their flavor.
Oh.
So you can make, 7 cups of tea out of that little snippet,
one thing. So I guess that's fair, but still that's a lot of money for 1 pound of tea.
For real.
I don't know. I feel like in the economy that we are in now, I talk about this a lot. Milk has risen in price. I would rather buy $1,500 worth of milk before I bought 1 pound of tea.
That is so funny. Yeah, the largest tea bag ever recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records weighed 551 pounds.
Holy cow. That's a lot of tea.
Who made a tea bag what kind of cup are you going to put that in?
I don't know.
It was 9.8 feet wide by 13 feet high.
Oh my gosh.
And it could be used to brew over 100,000 cups of tea.
Wow.
And it was made by Ahmed Mohammed Saleh Baishin and Company, who is the owner of Rabia Tea in Saudi Arabia. And this record was set in 2014.
I think we could beat it.
I don't, I don't, no,
I don't
no,
know.
Ren,
No. Think about it. Think about it. You and I at least drink 1 cup of tea a day. So that's basically like 1.5 year, give or take, amount of tea that we intake. If we just save up our tea, we could beat it.
And we could keep it on your back porch.
I don't think I have enough space for that.
The largest cup of tea was 10 feet tall by 8 feet wide.
Ooh.
And the most cups of tea drank or made in 1 hour was 1,848 cups of tea by a team of 12 people.
Okay, I feel like I could break the 1 hour thing if you define how I have to make it, because I could literally lay out 1,850 cups with tea bags in it and just go with hot water and then boom, I'm done. Define how you make it. We could break these records. We need to try.
Oh my God. Help me. So interesting things that you can do. The tea leaf remnants, once you're done reading them.
Okay.
You can rub it on uncovered areas of the skin in order to keep mosquitoes away. It's apparently a mosquito repellent.
Oh.
It has also been used for cleaning floors, naturally dyeing cloth, which I can see that. I've actually used it for paper. When I like to, when my kids like to do crafts and stuff, we'll do our own tea colored paper to make it look like a pirate map or whatever we're going to do. It also is supposed to help patch up tiny nicks from shaving. So when you shave your leg and you cut yourself, you can put a little tea remnant on it, and it's supposed to help with that. You can also use it in your garden for those green garden witches out there. Roses love the tea leaves. They absorb nutrients that they get through those tea leaves. It can also be a great addition to a compost pile. It apparently accelerates the decomposition process, which is interesting, cool. I thought.
Talking about tea, I drink tea every day. Like I've said that like 50 gajillion times in this one episode. I drink tea. Yes, we get it.
We get it.
But I've never done a tea reading, like a tea leaf reading, which is interesting. I want to now that I've done more research on it and we were talking about it. Like I really want to.
Well, you said you order stuff from the Peacock Tea Room too. Do you get the loose leaf or do you get the ones in bags?
I get the loose leaf because
so you could do it. Yeah,
I have a little. It's funny because I have a little. It's a platypus that you put the tea in and he hangs on the side of your cup.
Well, supposedly for this, you don't use the tea strainers or anything like that. You actually put the loose leaves in it when you do the water. But yeah, I don't generally like to drink it that way because I could choke on it then.
I mean, you just get tea leaves in your mouth.
And your teeth and your throat.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was telling you about the milk thing. I told you I had a story about the milk.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people put milk in their tea. I am one of those people, and I've always called it English tea. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but that's what I was raised to call it. But there is a debate about whether you put milk in first or after you make the tea. Which is fascinating because a friend of mine's girlfriend put the milk in first. And I was like, what are you doing? That is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard of. But here is why that happened. The low quality China cups would crack if you put the hot tea into them directly. So putting milk into them first meant that your cups would stay intact. So the richer people who could afford higher quality cups could wait to put their milk in after. So it was a stigma according to your class. So if you could wait to put your milk in, you were a higher class and status than the people who put the milk in first.
Interesting.
Isn't that fascinating? I never knew that.
I didn't know that either. I like that.
I do too. I never even thought of putting milk in first. It just didn't make any sense to me to do that.
No, yeah, because like you have to, personally, I pour water into my mug and let it seep with my tea bag, and then I pour in the milk. So if you pour in the milk first and then put your tea, it just makes it weird and murky. Like
I think it's weird too, but was very adamant about it. It's just the way she had always done it. It's the way she had been raised to do it. But there's a reason for that. I guess, that in poorer times, that's what you had to do to keep your china from breaking.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I've got on tea readings.
Yeah, that's all that I have too.
Okay.
But yeah, okay, now let's try to do the outro.
Oh boy.
So you guys can find us on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are currently working on our Instagram, getting it together. We're changing our aesthetic a bit. We're going to be experimenting with posts and everything.
Yeah,
so
we're going to totally wipe it all out and start over from scratch. So let us know what y'all think about it. Definitely like our posts or let us know if you don't like them. We're trying to figure ourselves out.
Yeah. like the vibe we're going for.
Yeah.
You guys can also find us at www.c3witchypodcast.com, where I have already changed how it looks with the month that we're in the season.
It looks beautiful. Yep. She moved on from the Samhain site that we had. Now we're into November.
So yeah, we don't really have like a Sabbath or anything in November. So it's pretty much, free reign. I decorated it for autumn a little bit. There you can find our links to all of our episodes on pretty much every platform that you can listen to your podcast, as well as our link to our Patreon, merch. And we are working on merch. I know we keep saying that, but we are. It's a long process. And am I missing? Oh, our newsletter came out.
It did. We had our newsletter. So come subscribe and you'll get the newsletter. Or if you're a patron, you get the newsletter as well.
Our newsletter is also on our website.
Is it under our blog? Do we post it on our blog?
It's not on our blog. It's just on a newsletter tab in our website.
Okay.
But instead of having to go all the way to the website, you guys can subscribe and we'll send it directly to your email.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's it.
We need to thank our patrons.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We have a new patron. Jessica.
Yes.
Hello. Hi. Thank you.
Jessica.
We are so happy and grateful for all of our patrons. We love y'all so much. Like, we love interacting with y'all.
We try to do a lot of stuff for you guys. You automatically get a tote bag, which Jessica, yours will be coming shortly. I've got to make it first. But we tried to do all kinds of things. We worked with some Etsy shops like Dragon Craft Creations, did a to-do list for us, or they did something for us that I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was, but we posted that for our patrons. So we try to do a lot for you guys to support, to let you know how much we appreciate your support for us.
There we go. Yeah.
Because we can't, I said it backwards. We can't do this indefinitely without your help. So if if you do enjoy us, please help support us so that we can keep going.
Yeah. And you can always support us by going and reviewing us on iTunes.
Oh, please do. We need reviews. That's something that, iTunes rates podcasts on is by the review get. So if we don't have any, we're like we're ranked lower. This is a good drink, y'all. And patrons get copies of these drink recipes that we try. So I'll have to post this one for our patrons, the poison apple.
And we also have a really fun episode coming soon. We're collaborating with another podcast. It's hopefully going to be sometime early next year, January, February. And we are so excited for that, just to announce it here. So y'all know what to expect and you guys can look forward to that. We are so excited. And that's it. I think that's it.
All right. We will be back.
We'll be back.